So, episode 4.
Yes. Shoot the way it came.
Shoot the way it came.
Just the way it came. Gordon Johnson.
Shoot the way it came, the way it came. That can't be right.
No.
I am in. It is still, I stand by everything that we've said.
Mhm.
It is, and frankly, it is just flat out, straight up.
Okay.
Slow.
Yes,
but
it is slow, but it's deliberately slow.
Mhm.
It's not like I trust Mike Flanagan's pacing enough that like this is all on purpose.
Well, and I'm invested.
Yeah.
I'm in. I think especially now that we have gotten an actual kiss between Dani and Jamie,
yeah.
it feels better. I like Dani's flashback. I found it interesting.
I was straight up wrong. It is not her brother.
Yeah, it's her former fiance. It was best friend to lover to what have you. But I found it interesting that the focus was on her relationship with his mother.
Yeah. Well, her mother was kind of absentee-ish. Yeah.
Oh, right, because she was in that one scene when they were trying on the dress. I was going to ask about the dress. Her soon-to-be mother-in-law gifted her with a dress.
Provoked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a bold move.
It is a bold move. I wouldn't have worn any of anyone's dresses.
She tells her, she was like, if it doesn't feel right, just let me know.
Which was really nice and lovely. And so I was really worried it was going to be like an 80s dress, but I was like forgetting that she had to have been married in like the early 60s. So it was like an actual really pretty, like blush colored 60s dress.
It was actually very beautiful.
It was really pretty.
And
I would have taken that dress.
Because you kind of like the second she like unfurled it, you were kind of like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
You
And she
were
was like holding it up and had like mesh, but that sounds bad.
Like tulle,
yeah, like a pleated tulle thing, and it was actually a really lovely dress.
Well, because this is what I was gonna say.
And I liked her engagement party dress a lot.
Yeah,
with the, like asymmetrical like pleating
is what I was gonna say. Something like that I think would be good for like either to change into it later, like in the reception, or even just for like photographs or something.
So I have a friend who I went to high school and college with, and she got married a while back, and she wore her grandmother's dress for the ceremony, and then she changed into like a modern dress for the reception. And if it were me, I would have worn the grandmother's dress the whole time. It was beautiful.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
So, and that was, I keep bumping my mic. That was interesting. It was good. A little reminiscent of Hill House, but not in a bad way. I mean,
Just
it's
like
Victoria Pedretti getting married.
Sure. Yeah. But I mean, aside from that, it was quite different. So here's the thing, because we've both been a little unsure if she's just making bold choices or if this is like a character thing. I definitely am convinced it's a character thing now, because she was like that in the past. I think in the first place, she's a little dippy. And in the second place, I think she's just a little anxious and nervous all the time. And she has all this guilt for Edmund dying.
I'm glad.
I think it's definitely on purpose, and I like it.
I'm glad. Well, glad's a weird word, but I like that it was the 80s, because I think his reaction was very strong. And you're understandably going to have a strong reaction to that. But as a queer person myself, I'm so firmly on her side.
Well, to me, it's not even that either. It's not even just the queerness of her side of the story. To me,
she's gay, by the way. I don't know if
fully a lesbian, which we get a glimpse of that when she's getting her dress fitted, and the like seamstress even knows and is like touching her back all sexy and like, you have lovely shoulders, and it's just like, what a lesbian thing to notice.
It's very female.
Yeah.
It was very female.
But I think it's not even that for me. I think the reason I'm so on her side is because not only does she have this other thing that she can't even begin to tell him about, because how do you do that in, 1984 or whatever, but she's also trying to let him down so easy, like to the point where she's like, I love you. I love you. And like, I just can't do this. And you're right. He just is like, well, forget it. I just don't want anything to do with you.
It makes me not like him, because it's like, how do you not sort of go, I see. That's what's been missing in our relationship my entire life.
Because I don't think that he recognizes that anything's been. I think it's one of those things where it's like they've been best friends since they were children, and everybody was like, you guys should get married, and he really just was like, well, all right. And
I don't know. I just would think if you were that close with someone for that long, that something like that would kind of be like, so that's what it is. I was thinking. I mean,
yeah.
So I didn't love.
Also, he has the nerve to just like be haunting her now.
Yeah,
the whole time.
I'm not very sympathetic. Because at first I was like, when she was like throwing his glasses in the fire, I was like, that was rude. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck you though. Yeah.
Fuck you, Edmund.
Kevin. From Sin City.
It just is Kevin from Sin City.
I liked the flourish at the end, the like whoosh.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
Well, they've kind of, because it did feel like it was something within the world because it hit the picnic blanket first and then went through the fire. But I feel like hasn't each episode kind of ended on a weird sort of like flourish like that? Sort
of, yeah. But there also then was that figure behind her too, because she's like looking at Edmund across the.
If it was just one of the statues from the statue garden.
I don't think the bonfire was near the statue garden, and it looked like the man with the hat again.
Well, I was gonna say I wrote down that we haven't seen that like whatever the plague mask.
We haven't seen the plague mask again, but I think that was the man with the hat, and we did get a new ghostie this episode.
Well, it's
the white dress.
Yeah, the doll in the white dress, which I just assume is their mother. I don't know why, because their mother, they make a point that she died
far away.
Yeah.
I think you're right, though. I think you're right.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah. But also, though, why should they be so scared of her?
Well, they weren't, though. Well, the children weren't scared of her.
They were
scared like they on behalf of.
Yeah, but then what would she do to Dani? Why would she?
That I don't know. I mean, unless she like wants to reclaim her house.
I mean, she's still there.
But I do think it's interesting. I love the dollhouse. I like that Flora is keeping tabs.
It seems to be predictive of what's happening in the house because Flora.
I think it's just more like a Marauders map.
Well, sure, but that means because Flora woke up and noticed that the Dani doll wasn't in her bed in the dollhouse, and she was like, "Dani's out of bed." So, I mean, the Marauders map is kind of predictive. It's like,
I think it's happening in the moment because that's when she saw that the white doll from under the dresser was in the house, and that's when she panicked and was like. And she called for Miles, so he knows too.
It's starting to.
And then they did jazz squares for 10 minutes while waiting.
Verbal jazz squares.
It was like a vaudeville show while they were waiting for the mother.
Well, she also was like, Dani was drunk, and she was also like super in her feelings in this episode, so she's like willing to let them dick around for like 10 minutes while they're like, but I can't go to bed right now. Can I have some milk?
Like it was just very, I don't know. I think I was attempting to, how does it work?
It's like, look over there.
For Drag Race fans. Yeah. So yeah, it was fun. We kind of mentioned that so it was Owen. It was Owen's mother's funeral. Did anybody go? It was like this big thing that they had to go, but then meanwhile, everybody was just chilling at the house. Like, thank God I don't have to go to the funeral.
So Owen obviously went, and Jamie went.
Yeah.
But
thick as thieves, those two.
Hannah decided not to. Well,
Hannah's dead and can't leave the house. So
Hannah decided to pay her respects her own way by lighting a candle or whatever, and then Dani was going to go, but then apparently her dress was inappropriate.
It was like a party dress.
Too flashy. Okay. Yeah. So she was like, I just recently had a funeral. I can't do this. And yeah, it was. You're right though. Who the fuck went to the funeral?
I did write down that I like Jamie now. What was when they were in the chapel? Flora was making a drawing for Dani, and she was like coloring,
she was doing like a pressing, like a rubbing
on like
Viola. Something?
It was Viola Lloyd was the name.
Yeah, okay.
And they made sure that
we saw it.
We lingered on that.
She was only 35 when she died, I think is what it said.
But that's not their mother because the mother's name was like Charlotte or like.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
Okay.
Because I think it was like the 1800s too. The age, the like dates.
Peter is still lurking around the periphery.
I'm very curious how many of these people
who's alive
are dead, are already dead. Because, like, no one else sees him except for Dani and maybe the kids. Because she said, do you see Peter? Dani asked, do you see Peter?
Well, no, she said,
did you let him in the house?
Did you let him in the house? And Flora was I have not let Peter in the house today. Yeah. No, I have not. And it was very it was like Trump's doctor was like, no, he has not had oxygen this afternoon. Why do you ask?
Why would you even? You brought up oxygen. I never said.
And so I clocked that too. I was like, this bitch.
Well, it also, because it obviously implied that, like, at other points she's here in the house, just certainly not today.
There was something that on any other show I would chalk it up to being just like an
accident of like set dressing.
Yeah, like an incongruity or something. But when Dani was talking to Miles, she it was the first time she actually kind of opened up to like losing someone. She hadn't really admitted that. And the second that she did, the door in the background was like shut. It was like open earlier.
Halfway shut, yeah.
And it just I don't know why it would be, but that felt deliberate. I haven't noticed any like hidden ghosts, which not I prefer. This one. I like that. It's
been like the three of them because it's been the plague mask one, the like man with the hat, and then now we've seen the lady in white. But that's it so far.
So they're using some of the music from Hill House, and I really like it. In particular, the family. Like anytime the family is together, they play like a little bit of like the family music, and then when someone dies, there's a death music, and I like that because they're still largely using a unique score and using that Wispa Willow,
a Willow Whaley.
So for the third time, I'll bring up her and Jamie. She admitted to Jamie that her male fiance died and that she sees him.
So, okay, that's all fine and good. But the thing is like they kissed each other, and then Dani saw Edmund again and like freaked out, and then Jamie was like, "Oh, you're just
she really."
And I was like, "You're not ready. I knew you were ready. We're not ready. It's fine." And I just was like, It didn't need to be that big of a reaction. Like,
I mean, it is also the 80s in like the English countryside.
Yeah.
But
Jamie just feels so certain of herself that I sort of was like. And she seemed very accepting and non-judgmental about the fact that Dani was seeing her dead fiance like around, and so I just sort of was like, "Why did you went so hard?"
I kept waiting for Jamie to be like, "So you're like seeing him, or you're like seeing him?" Because was that the first time she's seen him out of the mirror?
No.
When was the other time?
He's been like in her face a couple of times.
I thought it was always in a reflection.
Not like only twice before, but it's happened.
Okay.
She's definitely seen him like in the room. And at the end of the previous episode, she turned around and he was there.
Oh,
like when she was outside.
Yeah, and he like went whoosh,
yeah,
like butterflies at a Bob's Burgers funeral.
Yeah. Wedding.
Oh God.
Wedding.
I didn't even make the niche joke well.
But I also just that's a bad way to go.
Being hit by a truck
and like thrown across the.
Oh yeah, he did weirdly like make it.
Yeah, he was like alive to the hospital.
That was
like a UPS.
Yeah,
truck.
I was like, no,
and it was going at speed. Yeah. It was like the Meet Joe Black death, except for he only got hit once. But yeah,
so I think that's
episode 5.
Good for I'm
excited to watch it. Ready to watch this for the rest of the day.